Hey, howdy, hi. It's me, BA. It's been a long day. I am getting ready to sit down and do some artwork. I do artwork at the end of every night just to empty my mind and clear my thoughts. And weirdly, many times, the answers to my questions or my problems will often come at the end of one of these little sessions. So um, I know my mind is emptying, but yet it's still working. So it's kind of wild how that works out. This is what we will be doing tonight. I call them vases. They kind of look like a vase, but that must be the pottery in me because it also looks a little Dr. Seuss. But this is, of course, a larger piece of paper. I won't be working on that tonight, but I just wanted to show you the difference of working on a watercolor versus just a black and white. So eventually I will be teaching a class on how to do watercolors on papers and kind of leave it. It's a tricky thing to leave watercolor blank enough for you to draw on top of it versus I'm always very heavy handed with color. So anyways, but that's what it looks like on watercolor paper that's been painted. And this is what we will be doing tonight. You can work on a square. I know in my other video when I told you about supplies, it's just imperative that you get a smaller piece of paper versus something like this or an 8.5 by 11. So grab your small square. This was a square I worked on. This is a little bit of a rectangle. I wanted to work this in a different way. So I'll be going across the top tonight. So, all right, on here, I've done a little bit of a border. So grab a pencil if you have one. If not, you can just eyeball it. I guess I could just eyeball. No, I wanted to. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be perfect, is what I'm saying. You just want a little bit of a border. I find that when I work with these Sharpie markers that when it gets towards this paper edge, it kind of bleeds a little bit. So I like to work off of a border that's in here. So just quickly pencil that out. It doesn't have to be precise. It can be wonky. Actually, it looks a little bit better when it's wonky, I feel. So what we're going to do is you're going to just take from your one border to your other border. Am I in focus? Yes. Go and make a wonky line, a wave, if you will. Boom. See how that is? Then your next line, I would say start a finger's width down. You want to make a bulbous and then the vase part. What is that? Is that really the vase part? I don't know. Bulbous, inward, neck to the neck. So you see how we're just creating, and again, see how that line doesn't look exact. It's no big deal. Don't get super hung up on being precise. Boom. Neck, bulbous. Bulbous, neck. Neck, bulbous. See the flow? And you bring it right to your border lines. If you go over your border lines, no sweat. This is our first one. So this is why we use scrap paper. You figure out where you want to go in this grand scheme of things. Okay, now, because I'm a little dyslexic and I get to talking, I will inevitably mess this part up. So you can do like me, or maybe you're of a higher IQ or something and you can keep track of what you're doing. But this is how I do it, especially when I have to talk. So every other one will be alternating. So here we go over. We're going to go over. We're going to go over. See how I'm skipping? So I'm just going to do a couple there. So when I come back and I'm sitting here chit-chatting, my mind will just follow what lines I've already started. So we'll just do a couple like that. And again, if you are of high focus and you can go through and just do everything. Knock yourself out. Do whatever helps you to empty your mind. Okay, so now I'm going to go under, under, under. See that? See how they're different? One's over, one's under. So under, under, and under. No lie, I just about messed that up when I was sitting here talking. Under, 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 and under. Okay, now that's finished and I can chat away. So we're just going to go through and continue all of these lines in the fashion that I've started. So this section will all be like smiley faces. And it is okay that if you do not get it straight up against this line, because our next step will help fix that. Take a deep breath. Watch how you're holding that pen. Remember, these nibs are very fine. You don't really have to press down hard on them. Just a light pressure. And don't get hung up on, is everything equal distance apart? Is it looking different than the other one? Because in the end, it really won't matter. And under. Again, if you are of the high focus and you can do them in succession, go for it. I will screw it up every single time. And that's cool too. I mean, if you do that, because honestly, art is just all about morphing into the next thing. So if you mess something up, you just figure out a way to morph it. When we get into more difficult Zen doodles, I will definitely for sure make a mistake, and I will show you how I cover those up. Over. And again, notice I'm not coming right up against that. You can or you can't. I will be showing you a way to remedy that situation. Make sure you're breathing. See, that hand was so tight. So weird how I get nervous about filming these. It does not have to be perfect, you guys. And honestly, I think sometimes when I'm sitting here doing this and you're really focused on it and you're like, oh my gosh, this is going to look like nastiness. But when you stop and you look back at it, you're like, wow, that looks really cool. It's amazing how different everything looks when you step back and just take a look at it. It's kind of like, that's how problems are too, isn't it? Anyways. All right. So I just want to show you, oh, yeah, see, this is the first one I tried to do before I did this video, but notice, boom, 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 boom. Like I did these three all the same. So yeah, but also what I wanted to show you is see how on this paper, this is that cardstock I was telling you about. It's not quite printer paper, but you can't see the back. You can't see the Sharpie. So Sharpies do not bleed through that cardstock versus, say, your printer paper. Okay, so here we are. I want to kind of define these a little bit. You know, everything's kind of just getting lost. Nothing really stands out. Also, a way to clean these little lines where they're butting up against your main lines is you take and you just redefine those lines. So just take and go down over that line. And as you come up against those places where the little lines didn't quite meet the lines, make that a little thicker. Here's another thing that I do that you should not do. I consistently, even with a paintbrush, will do little strokes. I don't know. I've tried to break myself of that habit, but when you make little strokes like this, you're going to end up coming outside that line, and you're going to have to make it thicker and thicker and thicker. So if you're going to come and pick your pen up, make sure you stop and pick up. Don't swipe up. Don't come down and swipe up. Don't do that. You want to come down, make your line, and usually I will stop at a line that intersects, because sometimes when your pen, it will bleed out a little bit when you stop. So make sure you're at a line. See how I do that? Oh, such a bad habit. We'll come over here, do this one. Maybe doing videos will help break me of that. Again, watch how you're holding your head. My husband always gets headaches and neck pains from staring at his phone, down at his phone all the time. And I always get neck pains and headaches because I'm cranking my head to the side when I'm doing artwork. So just kind of take a minute to see how your body's feeling. Again, don't bear down on that tip. You'll just ruin your pen. Just hold your pen lightly. There. If you have any spots that you want to, like that one didn't quite meet up, you can do that. Two, sometimes I just like to have fun and see where things go. If I go in and make something a little bit thicker, sometimes it just makes it look that much better. Don't think that every line across has to be a certain width. You can do all different widths if you like. And two, if you have different colored markers, feel free to use those too. Just add a little bit of pizzazz to something. So you can go through and just clean up any little areas that you feel need cleaning. And that, my friends, is your first building block to Zen Doodle. These make for great backgrounds. If you want something to really stand forward, you can put this in a background. I like to use it for water. What else? Wind or clouds. Kind of implement that when I'm doing my storytelling. If you want, you can come in and do little tinier lines on some of the, like do more lines in one section versus the other, just to cause a little differentiation. You can do that. You can come in here and you can do little dots on alternating lines to make it more interesting. So, I would encourage you just to think outside of the box, as you would say. All right. Thanks for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you at the next class. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Thanks for joining me. Peace, love, and rocks.